I'm here with James. I know James is a man who likes his stats. I'm going to give you a few stats to go on.
Okay.
Arsenal won, Man United won in normal time, lost 5-3 in penalties. But if I say to you that we had over 70% possession, 26 attempts on goal, only 7 on target. United had only 7 attempts on goal, and yet still they've managed to beat us. I think it's fair to say that's very disappointing.
Yeah, it's somewhat predictable though, isn't it? I mean, having shots and having a lot of the ball has never been this team's problem. Not for a long, long time. The problem is, once against the same stuff. That's why I'm not sitting here furious, because I think I would needed to have expected something different to be that furious. My prediction was 1-1 after 90, but we'd find a way in extra time or maybe on penalties. So we were basically Kai Havertz putting it in the back of the net, or better penalty shootout away from that coming right. But ultimately, the tone of the game, that we wouldn't beat them in 90 minutes, that we would struggle to create chances. And a lot of people have talked about, actually, we did have chances on the day. In 120 minutes, I don't expect us to have no chances. We were going to have some. Liverpool don't score 3 goals because they created 3 good chances. They scored 3 goals because they created 6, 7, 8. We're not high volume in terms of chance creation, and we lack efficiency. So,
but in any metrics, 20, I think it's 26 attempts on goal. We've only scored 1. We missed a penalty. United are down to 10 men. Surely that's a very disappointing return. FA Cup third round as well.
It's shocking. No. Don't take anything I'm saying as a defence. It's appalling. We're really. You want to be a team that you might not be the best finishers, but you create loads of chances. Or you don't create that much. You're maybe pragmatic first, safety first, but my word, are you clinical? We're neither. We're like the opposite ends of both those things, which is really concerning. And look, you say 26 shots, okay. Let's rewind through the game and let's remember the big chances we had. I can't remember any in the first half. Genuinely, let me know in the comments. I can't remember any in the first. And if anyone in this room remembers any, jump in. I can't remember any big chance in the first half. The offside Martinelli, well, that's not a chance, he was offside, cool. Other chances from the second half and extra time, I remember the Declan Rice header, he should do better with that. I remember Kai Havertz, the really big one at the end of the game, that's the really big one. That's kind of it. Rice with his left foot, that's a good save. Oh, it's a half chance. It's on his weaker foot. He's a number 6, and he struck it well by India saves. And then the other one's probably when Trossard has it cleared off the line from De Ligt. So I've mentioned 4 there, of which 2 of them are probably could have done better, and 2 of them are probably should have scored in 120 minutes of football. Well, they're not talentless footballers, and Arteta isn't a talentless manager. So of course we had a lot of the ball. Of course we created some chances, and we're going on another day, like against Newcastle. But I remember saying after Newcastle, we like to do this on another day thing, but that other day is rarely going to come because ultimately we don't have quality in that front line. So the problems have reared its head once more, and we've had these problems since January 2022.
Yeah, I do agree with a lot of that. Now, obviously, people are going to look to the transfer window, which has commenced on January the 1st. We've not done any business yet. The fans are saying they want an Isak, they want a Gyökeres, but is that wishful thinking? Is that pie in the sky? I doubt we're going to get any of those 2. But is there anyone out there that you think that the club could come in to address the problem?
It's funny because when I'm talking about transfers and certain things I've obviously never been a part of, I've obviously never worked for a football club and bought a player, I try to temper some of my criticism, knowing full well that I actually have no idea what it's like. Now, I could say that I have no idea what it's like playing professional football, sure, but I know what it's, we've all played football. So, you can have a degree of opinion on the game for sure because you played the game. I've never bought or sold a player. But the thing that winds me up is we always look at it from the perspective of it's not so easy to buy players and there's lots of people involved and a lot of things have to happen. And that's all true. But at the same time, players do move. It's not like we get 3 transfers a window. Signings happen. Man City, having the worst season they've had for 5 seasons, are on it in this window. Marmoush is about to come through the door and there's others. We've seen big deals get done in January. So if Arsenal are now, scraping together some sort of plans because of the injuries to Saka, Waneri and Jesus, well, that'd be so disappointing because we needed to address the forward line anyway. So I think Turkish made this point once. These, director of football, transfer committee, whoever is involved, surely they're not only working June to September and then January. Surely there's other things. And of course there are scouts talking to players. We know the Declan Rice deal. the conversation started really early, from January to July that deal took. So are Arsenal unprepared? Or do they genuinely believe there's no one out there that we could get, which is really concerning? I'd start to question the scouts at that one point because...
Well, it's interesting you make that point because one of the points I was going to come on to is that Edu's left the club.
Yeah.
And, some people are speculating as to how that might have ended up. But regardless of that, it would appear that we're not active as yet. Do you think that Edu leaving the club has got anything to do with the transfers or lack thereof or what?
It's only speculation. Anything I'd be saying would be pure guesswork. I'd be putting out potential scenarios. I can't say I know. What I will say is just because we don't know doesn't mean that the club aren't active. But just because they're active doesn't mean they're doing a good job. You can be active. We need results too. It's not just, don't just try to find a forward. So that's what I'd say on all that. Basically,
I'll tell you why I ask you that question, because I do feel it's somewhat strange that Edu, from what we know, he was offered that position at Nottingham Forest or he's working with a few clubs. Yeah. And he turned it down. And then halfway through the season, well, it wasn't even halfway through the season, he's announced that he's leaving. And eyebrows did go up. And since then, we've not really been active or done anything. It does lead you to conclude that maybe there was some disengagement or something going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, look, really maybe, but I'd also say that I don't think everything was particularly rosy when he was still there. That's not me blaming Edu. It could be Edu, could be Arteta, could be the Cronkies, could be, I don't know, the committee of Tim Lewis and Richard Garlick and everyone. I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea, who is the defining person leading everything. Because Arteta's got the title of management, it feels like we need to look to him. But we missed out on big targets before. Whether it be Vlahovic, Isak, Kudus, Paqueta, Guimaraes. And if people tell me, well, actually, they weren't big targets, then I'm more concerned, because why were we not targeting those players? With all the respect in the world to Newcastle and West Ham, they weren't in the Champions League when they signed these players. So I don't really know what the excuses were for us, even 2-3 years ago. So somewhere, we've done some good recruitment, for sure. The back four, the way we've reinvented that. Look, David Raya's age was a very good signing. Declan Rice, I don't care if he costs 100 million. I think he's been excellent for us this season. We haven't seen as much of it. I really like Jurriën Timber. Of course, we've signed some really good players. But there have been some pretty expensive misses, from Fabio Vieira to Kai Havertz, which I'm fully putting down as a miss right now.
Even this season, some people might say Calafiore
Marino,
been injured a lot. Marino's been injured,
Yeah, exactly. And when you look at that, the questions are fair. So you'll have to get things wrong in the transfer window. It's not so much the players we've bought that haven't worked out. It's more the profiles that we needed that we never addressed. We lost Aubameyang, I think January 2022. Okay, we've signed Jesus since then, and we signed Kai Havertz. So you could say £100 million has been spent on two strikers since then. But one came in as a midfielder, and even if he did come in as a striker, neither came in with a reputation of goal scorer. So again, that profile, that match-winning quality hasn't been signed once by Mikel Arteta since he arrived, since he's been managing. And that's concerning. And there are more profiles. We've signed Marino, but we're still putting Rice in the left eight. There have been some weird ones. Trossard, we signed him as an inside forward, gets goals, whatever. Cool, did very well last season. It's largely been a very good signing, but we keep chucking him out on the touchline. Right, Sterling came in on loan. Actually thought it looked fairly bright today.
Yeah, I thought he did look good. Yeah.
So there's definitely been some really weird ones. But it's when you look at the ones we didn't do that felt perfect for us that you go, that's concerning. Why did we miss out on those guys?
Got to ask you about the manager. We've spoken, you've alluded to the manager's position. He's coming in for a lot of stick. As you can expect, fans are emotional and there will be a lot of knee-jerk stuff. But some people are suggesting that, he's in a spot of bother right now. How do you see it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not looking good, is it? But the conversation about whether Arteta's the guy to get us over the line, I've never dismissed that conversation. Yeah, I might be Arteta in. I might ultimately be more of a fan of his than I'm not, but I've never dismissed the conversation about whether he's the guy to get us over the line. I've just felt that there was plenty of good there that I want to see a guy, continue to build. And if the momentum and trajectory has always been up, which before this season it has been, we have been getting better and better to the point of challenging for the title twice, then I felt that this guy, had the chance of getting it right. Now, we might regress this season, then progress again next season. Or, I don't know, football's never linear. But he's been going to get criticism, not just because of maybe recruitment, which you could put to other people, not just because we're going through a bit of a bad patch, but more because the frustrations we've had are the same ones, and he seems to be really struggling to fix it. So unless Odegaard's getting the ball or Saka's getting the ball and whipping it to the back post when we need a goal, we're out of ideas. And when that happens, you look more to the manager because you go, this seems to be a coaching thing. Now, I've gone on about quality and the players and whether a lot of those forwards are good enough, and I'm not taking anything from that. But the patterns, the way we're trying to score goals, a lot of that you look to the manager. So yeah, there's going to be pressure when the same problems that cost us, last year, maybe not the season before that, but the season before that it did. You start to go, well, mate, when are these going to get fixed? So, yeah.
No, I think that's fair enough. Let's try and end on a positive note, and that's very difficult after a day like today. But there is the small matter of Tottenham on Wednesday. It's a massive game. I would argue it's even more massive now after what transpired today and in a week with Newcastle. How confident are you that the manager can get a tune out of the players on Wednesday?
Look, it's funny, but we could put in the same performance against United and Newcastle we did against Tottenham and maybe win it. Because like I said on another day, sometimes those chances you do put away, as you should. But Tottenham have more attacking. They'll really come to play, but maybe that leaves them more open. So, yeah, of course we can win. We're definitely good enough. But the injuries are a bit of a problem now. Although really is only in one position because we still have Havertz and Martinelli, who are technically two of our starting three. So yeah, of course we can win, and I'll be cheering my heart out because I love this team, and we hate them lot. But it's a big one. We're not coming into it in good form. But could there be a better game really to try and spark some life into our season? Win that. Sign a player. And I know I always say, but if we do this, if we do that, but I have to. I'm a football fan. I'm going to keep believing in some way. So
no, well said. Thank you. Let's end on a positive note. Thank you.